Hello, friends. Today in our study of Revelation, we are going to be looking at chapter 10, verses 1 through 7. If you've been following these meditations, you know that we have looked at 6 of the 7 trumpets. So you might be expecting to hear from the 7th trumpet today. But the 7th trumpet will not be heard until chapter 11, verse 15. There is a large, what we can call textual break between the 6th trumpet and 7th trumpet. And this is something we have seen before. You might remember that between the 6th seal and the 7th seal, there was also a textual break. These textual breaks do not communicate a pause or delay or time period between chronological events. I ask you to remember what I have mentioned several times. The book of Revelation is not structured by chronology. It is not a timeline of events. If you try to read it as if it is a timeline of events, it's not going to make any sense. So I'm going to remove the lines of what I'm showing you on the screen so that it doesn't look like a timeline. And I'm going to place this inside the object that I've been using to symbolize the whole of the last days. What we're being shown is that throughout the whole of the last days, everything associated with the seals will be happening, and everything associated with the sounding of the trumpets will be happening. All of that is happening concurrently, and also what we see in these textual breaks will be happening as well. Think of a novel with me. When you're reading a page-turning novel, you get to a part where the main character is about to be killed, and you turn the page to see what happens. And then suddenly, you switch scenes. And now you're being shown what's happening in a different place with a different character while that main character is about to be killed. The same thing at times happens with TV shows and movies. And we understand that when we're reading the novel or watching the show. The same thing is happening in the book of Revelation. Sometimes we see what the demons are doing. At other times we see what the angels are doing. We've looked at what's going on in the church. We've looked up into heaven to see what's going on there. We've seen natural disasters occur on the earth and wars as well. All of that is happening all the time concurrently throughout the last days, and it will all end with the victorious return of Jesus. With that understood, let's now read, listen to, and consider our passage, Revelation chapter 10, verses 1 through 7. I'm going to begin by reading verses 1 through 4. Then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, wrapped in a cloud, with a rainbow over his head, and his face was like the sun, and his legs like pillars of fire. He had a little scroll open in his hand, and he set his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land, and called out with a loud voice like a lion roaring. When he called out, the 7 thunders sounded, and when the 7 thunders had sounded, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Seal up what the 7 thunders have said, and do not write it down." The angel we see is both gigantic and glorious. The scene reveals that with just a few steps, he can cross the sea and move from nation to nation. The rainbow above his head reveals that he comes to keep God's covenant promise. His legs of fire reveal that he comes with power and purifying fire. This angel spoke a thunderous, complete message. I say complete because it's described as a message of 7 thunders. The number 7, you remember, means completion. And what is really interesting, what we need to pay attention to is this. John was going to write the message down, but the angel stopped him. So John heard the message of the 7 thunders, but we never hear it. The message is sealed. What is being communicated to us is that we're not going to understand everything happening during the last days. There are plans that are beyond our comprehension. There are plans God has that have not been revealed. God knows them, we don't, and we shouldn't know them. But what we can know with absolute assurance is that God is in control. His plans will be completed. Listen to the next verses 5 through 7. And the angel whom I saw standing on the sea and on the land raised his right hand to heaven and swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created heaven and what is in it, the earth and what is in it, and the sea and what is in it, that there would be no more delay, but that in the days of the trumpet call to be sounded by the seventh angel, the mystery of God would be fulfilled, just as he announced to his servants, the prophets. The way God is working out his plan is most often a mystery to us, but nothing will be delayed. All 7 trumpets will sound. So even though God has not revealed everything to us, even though part of the message John heard has been sealed up, not written down for us, we can be confident in God. We can know that nothing is thwarting his mysterious ways and plans. That is always a comforting message, but right now it's especially comforting. The year 2020 has been full of surprising events and confusing events, and the year 2020 is not over yet. We wonder what is going to happen with our presidential election. We wonder what's going to happen with the pandemic now that we are into our fall season. We wonder what's going to happen with our nation and other nations as well. This vision is communicating to us, don't worry about all of these surprising, confusing events. Remember, we don't know all of God's plans. We don't know all of his mysterious ways. Right now, there are plans unfolding which, to use a cliche, are way above our pay grade. Right now, there are mighty angels at work on behalf of God's people. Right now, God is bringing us closer to our great redemption, the sounding of the final trumpets. I'm going to close today by reading 3 stanzas of a hymn I have always appreciated. I believe this hymn summarizes well what we've learned today from the book of Revelation. God moves in a mysterious way, his wonders to perform. He plants his footsteps in the sea and rides upon the storm. Deep in unfathomable minds of never-failing skill, he treasures up his bright designs and works his sovereign will. You fearful saints, fresh courage take. The clouds you so much dread are big with mercy and shall break in blessings on your head. Meditate on that truth this week. Let it spur you on. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.